Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently holding for further traffic clearance.
Check out Kristen's new website, magicaljourneysvacations.com, for all your vacation needs. Disney, Universal, cruise lines, and more.
Thank you for traveling with us.
magicaljourneysvacations.com. Have her book your magical vacation today.
WDW After Dark, now loading.
WDW After Dark. WDW After Dark. Live and uncensored. Starring Jeff Davis, Al Jonko, Kristen Hetzel, and Eric Allen. WDW After Dark is live and uncensored. Call the hotline at 410-98-WDW-AD. Follow us on Facebook at WDW After Dark Webcast and Twitter at WDW After Dark. Headline news, Disney food, video games, Marvel and Star Wars. WDW After Dark. Live and uncensored. And now prepare yourself for WDW After Dark.
WDW After Dark is your late night Disney talk show, webcast, and podcast. Going strong for over how many years now, folks? I don't even know.
5?
How many years has it
I want to say 5.
Maybe
now,
6?
This is year number 6 for the show. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like keeper of the holocron there.
Yeah.
Jeff.
It's in that little Rolodex in my head.
So full, we have five years in.
Yeah.
We've been at it for quite some time, and we do appreciate you pressing play here. 2016, the first show back, and all of us are here and in different colors as well. Look at us. You got me in the hot pink room, Chris in the yellow room, Jeff in the white room, and Eric over there painted black. My goodness sake, you're in the black room.
I saw a red door and I wanted playing it black.
you look like a floating head, Eric.
Jeff looks like he's in a green room.
He does.
It does kind of look green. It does look kind of look green.
That would be the little light over here.
We're multicolored.
I'm trying to get a date with Madame Leota.
There you go, floating head. Yes. Give us a sign, Eric. Give us a sign.
Well, considering Eric's shirt's so dark, it almost looks like all he is a floating head.
It actually
If
is
you
a black
just
shirt.
needed-
Yeah.
You needed to not have that button up top because the button makes it. If you didn't have the button,
There
you
we
would
go.
just be a floating head.
Cloaked. The floating head. Oh, I
God,
love it.
that's
I
more
love
disturbing than you normally are, Eric. I mean, oh my God. Look at that. Wow.
Spiders, tail of a rat. Come out for After Dark. Wherever
If you're
at.
not listening and you're watching, if you're not watching and listening, you need to go watch it because it's kind of freaky.
I love how Eric's head is just kind of floating in black. There you go. There you go.
Just every now and then we see the one finger.
He's dancing to a beat of his own trumpet.
Is that assistant
tambourine, I
prop
should
holding
say.
something up underneath the camera and you're like, get out of the damn picture. Come on.
I know this is a low budget broadcast, folks. Thank you for tuning into the show. We are your late night talk show for Disney fans. Tonight we talk about Star Wars. We're going to spoil the crap out of it, so prepare yourselves. You've been warned. We also will be reviewing a bunch of different aspects of the movie, talking about some Disney news, and so much more. We invite you to join us on Blab. Here we are, WDW After Dark on Twitter and WDW After Dark webcast on Facebook. By following us, it ensures you that you know whenever we go live for this particular recording of these podcasts. And we'll also be putting up this show on YouTube. It's available on iTunes, so don't forget to spread the word. We'd also like everybody to check out www.afterdark.com. Not only do we have a bunch of archive shows there for the past 5-6 years, however many years we've been doing the show, but also you can support our show by making sure you book your next Disney trip with Kristen right there Miss Dining at Disney herself. She is a vacation planner. She will help you save money with Magical Journeys Vacations.com. That is her preferred travel partner. And she will send you on your way to destinations, exotic and also close by. Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, Carnival, Princess Cruise, Celebrity Cruise, what have you. Every cruise line known to man. And of course, Adventures by Disney. I also challenge everybody out there to support the show by checking out our links to Amazon. You shop there every day. We know this. In fact, today found out that Amazon is offering 20% off pre-ordered video games. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Become a Prime member. Click on our link to shop on Amazon, and every little bit helps out. You still pay the prices you would normally pay. Amazon just gives us a little bit of a commission for that to help keep this show running for free for you every single week. Not only that, we've got Fandango. We've got our other partners in there, Halloween costumes, and so much more.
And I want to say something about that.
Do it.
Costumes are not just for Halloween either, because my son, the unaltered clone, is working on a school project about Japan, and he wanted to do it in costume because he got extra points if he did it in costume. So Sunday night before last, I went on to Halloween Express's site by going through After Dark's website and ordered a samurai costume for him to wear at this. And so I wanted I wanted to set a ringtone for him to where it's just like the vapors turning Japanese as he walks up to this front of the class. It's either that or oh no, there goes Tokyo, go Godzilla.
Nice.
I would love that.
I like it. I like it a lot. Very good.
Pretty.
Eric, thank you for that. Yes. So there's a myriad of ways you can help the show out. For all those great links, be sure you check out WDWAfterdark.com. Now, here we are. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of Star Wars, The Force Awakens, spoiler reviews, and more, Jeff Davis has got a few Disney headline news. Let's go around the horn and see what's up. Jeff.
All right, so a couple of changes that came about during the holiday season over at Walt Disney World. And
changes.
Yes, David Bowie, what up? It's last time David Bowie and Lemmy both passed away.
Yeah. Sad.
It's just, rock and roll are losing some of its legends, but I digress. Go ahead.
And one of the big ones, I guess, to start off with is now Walt Disney World has added metal detectors. Metal detectors at all 4 of the Walt Disney World theme parks. That's Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and also Animal Kingdom. So the rumors began circulating as to some major changes that were coming around. Costumes and toy weapons would be banned from the parks. Toy guns, even bubble blowers would be gone, pulled from store shelves. The shooting galleries would be closed, along with Buzz Lightyear and Midway Mania. Pirates of the Caribbean would see their guns and pistols replaced with non-ballistic weapons. Lightsabers would be banned. All of these different things, rumors just started going absolutely nuts. The whole reason for these metal detectors being put in at Walt Disney World is simply for your safety. It may be a hassle. It may be kind of a pain in the butt every now and then, but they're there to keep you safe. Now, there's also a new guest screening process. It's currently using an outside company to conduct some secondary screening of randomly selected visitors after they pass through the bag check tents and theme park entrances. A pair of metal detectors in its place next to each checkpoint, staffed by an outside security firm. Now, those visitors are randomly selected for secondary screening after they pass through the bag check. Those selected must remove backpacks, purses, empty their pockets, and pass through the metal detector. Visitors who offset the detector are screened once again with a handheld metal detector wand. Now, they wouldn't discuss on how guests would be randomly selected for the secondary screening process, because then it would just defeat the entire purpose.
It shouldn't be random.
It shouldn't be random. So it should be every single person, you think?
No, I think they should use profiling.
Profiling how?
It's a science. It works. Profiling works. People who, based on certain characteristics, fit certain profiles of people that they're looking for that may bring a weapon into the park.
I think you need to screen every single person that walks in there with a Universal T-shirt.
Yeah.
By the way, opinions expressed on this program not necessarily those of anyone else's, but our own. I just want to mention that.
And the thing is, all visitors are.
I'm sorry, I am strongly behind profiling. So.
I'm totally. I agree with you. Yeah, profile the crap out of them. I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Because again, it's only
military. You know how it works.
I do, and it only keeps everybody safer when they go to the parks. You're going to see a heightened police dog presence at main entrances as well, as Disney deploys specially trained what they call vapor wake dogs that can detect explosives that might be worn on the body or maybe concealed in baggage or other types of things. When I talked about weapons, effective immediately when this got put into place, all toy weapons are banned from Disney property, and they are no longer sold in stores. Now, this applies to realistic and fantasy guns, including Star Wars blasters, Buzz Lightyear blasters, and even bubble guns are gone. Anything that looks like a gun has been pulled from the shelves at Walt Disney World, including miniature Buzz Lightyear blaster keychains. They don't even sell those. Now, the ban does not...
Oh, my God.
I know, they're getting really technical about it. The ban doesn't include lightsabers, toy swords, or toy bow and arrow sets, of which are still sold in parks as well. You can't get those. No costumes. Disney restated the policy prohibiting adults from wearing costumes, but now allows children up to 14 years old to wear them. This was kind of an issue with the Disney Marathon weekend, which just happened a couple of days ago. A lot of people were questioning a lot of different things on the policy of costumes. Disney doesn't plan to make any attraction changes, and that's going to cover stuff like the depiction of weapons, I guess, in a way, for stuff like Pirates of the Caribbean. Those pistols, stuff like that, will still be used in the attraction. You'll still have the blasters during Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. Also, the shooters over to Midway Mania and Toy Story, all that stuff and everything else. So it all comes down to the recent events in this country and around the world that have been happening within the past couple of months. Specifically, the shooting in San Bernardino, which was so recent and so close to Disneyland out there in Anaheim, California, made a very, very big impact. Also, there's been a couple of incidents in the past year that have shown the flaws of Disney's former screening system and security system. Now, back in July, a convicted felon was arrested for bringing a loaded handgun into the area between Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. He made it through bag check, but it was spotted by a security officer in that area 2 weeks ago. After that, another man was arrested after trying to bring a loaded gun into the Magic Kingdom over in Orlando, there to the Magic Kingdom. And let's see, we had one more. He made it through baggage check, but the screener alerted to an officer who detained the man before he could get into the park. And then there was the visitor who accidentally dropped a loaded pistol while riding the dinosaur ride over the Animal Kingdom. So obviously the bag check was not really doing any good. 9 times out of 10, when you walk up with your bag, what do? They got a wooden stick with them, and they just kind of fumble around a little bit. They want to look in all the pockets.
Oh, no. Now, see.
I'm sorry?
See, they've asked me to unzip things.
Oh, yeah, they'll ask.
Like, you know, the small little CyberShot cameras? I've had them have us open that up. You know, things that you know what's in there. There's no gun that's that small that's going to fit into that. Like, give me a break.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I wanted to test Disney security at one point and see how easy it would be to walk into the park with a full backpack under my poncho. I was like 2 inches from the security guard because Connor had his bag checked.
No, he did.
So, yeah. So I walked right through, had it right on my back. Nobody noticed. I was like, I could have walked in with anything.
Yeah, you could have. It's become that easy, and that is the reason why Disney has changed their policies and added so many other different levels of security. They're going to keep you safe while in the parks, and a lot of people are really not complaining about it at all. The lines may seem to be a little bit longer because of the extensive searches and everything else, but that is just a normal reaction when it comes to.
I'm not a fan of it because I believe it gives people a false sense of security. Look, TSA is well trained. They're way more trained than Disney security is to handle and know what to look for. Yet people still get guns onto airplanes.
Yeah, they do.
And if TSA can't catch it, you want to get something and you're going to get it in. I mean, there
is no foolproof system.
But it gives people a false sense of security that they're safe. That now guns can't get in, this can't get in, this won't be here.
Yeah.
No.
However, if they're consistent with their methods, and they need to be consistent, then there is that kind of security check that, of course, is it a false sense of security? Perhaps, but it at least it's some security. You're keeping some people out, and you're at least, like I always said, I like the show of theater, regardless of whether it's effective or not. It is some type of deterrent for some people that want to try to get away with some shenanigans.
Yeah.
So I'd much rather have it than not. But I would also like to see better implementation, which means better security, better training, and consistent with all aspects of the screening technique. If you're going to say that you're not going to use profiling, then at least be consistent. Search everything, search everyone, and make sure that stuff like these events that Jeff had mentioned don't take place.
Sure.
Because all it takes is one.
Yeah.
And
plus we're talking about the sheer numbers of people that visit the Disney parks every year. And it's kind of a similar situation to engineering and breakdowns. If you have something that you say, this is a 1 in a million chance that this will happen. Well, if 9 million people visit a park over the course of a year, well, then you're going to have that happen 9 times.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's simple numbers. You've got to be as consistent as possible. I totally agree with it. And really, the whole false sense of security, I hear where you're coming from on that, Kristen, but at the same time, hasn't it always been that way?
Oh yeah, I've said that from the beginning.
I mean, people go into the parks every single day and they think, I'm in Disney World. I'm in the happiest place on earth. Nothing bad can ever happen. Things get stolen. Children get taken, or there are attempts to it. People are roughed up. Bad things happen even on Disney property. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, you say, well, we'll get this screening process in. It's an improvement over the last screening process. Sure, people are going to get a false sense of security about it. People are going to get a false sense of security regardless of what they do. And
I just think it makes it worse. And to me, I don't know. I just think it's kind of pointless.
I think,
I guess if it makes some people feel, falsely safe, then I guess it's good for them. But to me, it's just an annoyance.
Well, I think
and
that
I've
it's
felt
something
that way from the time they implemented all this security to begin with.
Well, we can definitely continue this conversation offline. I think that, once again, there is no right way. All we can do is the very best we can, which is just consistently try to safeguard people's, people at the park. And who knows, but I will say, after the millions and millions upon millions of people that go through the gates, plenty of them have great times, and more oftentimes than not are not affected by any type of bad problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Disney and their security methods, as flawed as they may be, or as good as they may have, the result is more oftentimes than not, a lot of people have a great time at the park. So let's move on.
The good thing about it is that they did hire a third-party company to come in and do this type of stuff. They will provide the type of training that is needed for Disney employees, that is needed for actual Disney security while they're there. So in the long run, it may be rocky, it may be a pain in the butt right now. It will pay off later on down the road as Disney does continue to improve the process and make the experience less of a hassle and stuff like that. So it'll be good to go. Let's talk parking. What was it, Kristen? A week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago, rumors started flying around that Disney is now testing paid parking at a couple of different moderate and deluxe resorts at the Walt Disney World Resort. And this is specifically for those people who feel that they don't want to pay the $20 to park between two lines and ride the first ride at Disney World, which is the tram when you do park. They would rather go to a resort, park there, use some of the Disney transportation provided, whether it be the monorail, whether it be the buses or something else. They simply tell people, yeah, I've got reservations over at so-and-so. They go park, and they go straight to a park. And so this has caused a lot of problems. No parking for guests who actually do have reservations and actually do have resort reservations that are actually staying there, causing a lot of issues. So Disney decided to start parking, paid parking for these individuals. Some people really, really upset. And Kristen, you were the first one to just absolutely say it's a good thing for a lot of people. It's going to be a hassle for some. But what were your comments that you made right off the bat? I can't remember.
I don't remember either. But I will I will say that, I think the exception needs to be if you are a Disney guest, then yes, you can come and park here even without a reservation. Because sometimes you want to go to a hotel where maybe your friend is staying and have drinks in the bar there. But why should you pay when you're going to have drinks? Maybe you have to produce a receipt. I can see for non-Disney guests absolutely doing that without a reservation,
But what about some restaurants that don't require a reservation? That are at some of the...
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's why you bring a receipt.
That's what I'm saying is I think they would need to show a receipt to them in order to get that
validated.
Do it like a validation system with that.
Now, see,
you're not eating it.
Now, see, I like that. I like that. If you are coming to a resort, you're like, say, you're somebody that lives in the Orlando area, and you say, well, I'm going to go to meet my friends from Wisconsin. They're down here. They're going to Ohana. So I'm going to eat dinner with them. Okay, fine. You are welcome to come in here. You are using the services. You are basically okay. You're putting money into Disney.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with you coming in and doing that. So if you want to park there for free, show them a receipt, or show them your Go Box or something. I don't know, but show something that says, "Hey, I was here for a reason, not just to freeload park."
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that kind of upset a few people were those who just enjoy visiting resorts. Checking out new additions, or during the holidays, checking out different decorations and stuff like that. And that's not necessarily eating somewhere. And for some, it's even part of their vacation is just a resort hop, go from resort to resort to resort. That may pose a problem as well because they don't have any type of reservation at a restaurant or anything else like that. So a lot of people were
bring a receipt for a Dole Whip.
Buy something.
Yeah, buy something. It is an option.
Give people.
But that
you don't have to drop at Ben Franklin. Just like get a freaking Dole Whip.
But that doesn't solve the problem of people using those parking lots to enter the parks and not have to pay for parking. What they're doing, they're parking there. They're jumping on a bus. They're from that resort and heading straight to the parks. So my solution and my idea was simply this: integrate the Magic Band system into the Walt Disney World bus system. As you enter the bus, scan your magic band. If the light goes green, you're a resort guest from that resort and you're good to go. You can get on or however they want to do it. But again, validation, your point, validate that you're actually supposed to be at that resort and can get on that bus. Otherwise, you're not solving the problem.
Why not, in order to have people park there, scan the magic band? Because if you're an annual pass holder, you know, and you're local, who say you eat there often, like Tony Casanova from Disney by the Numbers, you last minute go to places because not every place has all the reservations filled. Not everybody wants to have a reservation because you know what? They might decide later today that sushi this morning is not what they want to eat for dinner tonight. Why not scan the magic band? At that point, you can see, okay, you're an annual pass holder.
Yeah.
Why not put Tables in Wonderland on it? They can scan it, go, oh, your Tables in Wonderland. Chances are really good you're going to come here and you're here to dine, to have drinks, you know, whatever. Like Raphael and I, the one time, drove over to Contemporary after being at Animal Kingdom and sat at the bar in the Wave for 3.5 hours.
Okay.
You know,
how do you
things like that?
All right. That takes care if you are a guest, an annual pass holder. What about situations like, well, we were at the Polynesian one time to check out Ohana, and there was a group of high school students that were there on their prom. That's where they had gone. That's where they were going for dinner that night. Do you just say, hey, we've got reservations, and you check against the reservation list? Or
yeah,
I mean,
that's what you would have to do with reservations.
I mean, you would have to have multiple ways to validate somebody. But I mean, I'm with y'all. I've
had to validate my reservation before, where they've looked at that.
Yeah.
Like when I said, "Oh, I'm going to eat here." Well, what's your name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Donner, Party of 8. Yeah.
Some people are not treating it as we are and keeping it as simple as, validations and everything else. A lot of people are extremely upset, just downright, I guess, pissed off with the fact. And these are people who are cheating the system, who are visiting. Right. They're staying over on 192 at a hotel somewhere, and they're cheating the system to not have to pay the money to park. And those are the majority of the people who are really just upset about this. And won't be able to do anything about it, because I think that it's going to be something that's coming in the future. Disney's testing it.
Oh, you know it.
That they're going to do it. It's pretty much set in stone. There's just finding the best way to do it, I guess. Kristen?
Well, one way to fix that is if you are staying off property and are not an annual pass holder, you don't get a magic band. You get a key card. Just like the old days, you don't have to tap something on everything. It's still completely doable. You can still tap a card, but that way you would have to show that when you go up to the gate. And if you have a plastic card, we're so sorry, but you can't park here.
Yeah. That's not going to keep a few people from parking in parking lots that are directly across the street from a Walt Disney World resort, and they just simply walk on. There are a few parking lots around where you can't do something like that. Or even people have done this to cheat the system as well. They park at downtown Disney. They take a resort bus to the resort. Then they take a bus from the resort to the parks. So,
have you ever done that?
I've never done that.
Okay. When Al John has been traveling and he's had the car, that has meant when I've been at the park during the day, when he's been there for work, I don't have a car. I don't have a way to get from the park to, say Al John and I are having dinner at the Polynesian. Well, that means I have to catch a bus to a resort to downtown Disney and catch downtown Disney to that other resort, do things like that to maneuver around. That's not.
But the thing is, Kristen, you have a valid reason for doing something like that, because you don't have any transportation.
But it's a pain. I wouldn't choose to do that. Why people choose to? Don't be. Oh my God, it's a pain. And as long as you're walking around the parks all day, and what a long day it is, Pay the $20.
Yeah, don't be cheap.
Pay
Don't be a cheap
$30.
ass
Just
and not
don't
pay
be
it.
that cheap. Come on.
It's
Oh my
it is
gosh.
so
It's way
pathetic.
too much
It is
so
work.
pathetic.
Well, Nicole in the chat
Ugh.
says it's way too much effort, and you're exactly right. It's not just the effort. I mean, good Lord,
an
I give you
hour and
A
a
for
half.
effort if you want to
At
do that,
least.
man.
Yeah.
It's
This
an
will
hour
waste
and a
your
half
vacation.
of your time at least to
Yes.
get from even like where I've gone to downtown Disney and taken a bus to a resort to catch a bus from the resort to downtown Disney. It's a minimum hour and a half.
We have totally done that a bunch
He
of
could
times.
be in Tampa and he can be leaving Tampa to come back to Orlando and go to downtown Disney. And I leave the park when he does, and he will still get there before me.
This
Why
is
do
true.
you want to waste that much time? That could be like
Because
5
people
rides
are
on
pathetic.
attraction. What are you doing, people?
They are pathetic.
You're wasting your money.
Hey, look, we've talked about people actually making hot dogs in the coffee machines. Okay, we know
Ugh.
people are cheap. We know people are cheap. So
Yeah.
let's just move
Well,
on.
it's not necessarily just being cheap, okay? Because case in point, when we would go, our philosophy is our car is for getting us to Disney property and from Disney property. Once we park, we don't want to even see our car except to just walk by it in the parking lot going, okay, good. Nobody's broke into it. So it's not it's not necessarily a lazy thing. It's also just we don't want to have to drive through the traffic ourselves.
I just
Oh no! Oh, that makes complete sense when and that's why you stay on Disney property.
Yeah.
This is why we do the show, folks.
I
For those of you just tuning in, this is WDW After Dark. This is the panel of experts. We've got our foodie travel agent. We got our news monster. We got our pop culture enthusiasts. This is what we do every single week on the show. And I tell you, man, everybody's like, hey, what are they talking about Star Wars? Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
See, I'm like Eric.
But,
unlike Eric, I'm kind of the opposite of you, Eric. If I take my vehicle to Walt Disney World, I'm going to use it simply because I'm going to have free parking. But at the same time, I don't want to stand on a Disney bus at 12:30 at night with almost 100 other sweaty, nasty, smelly, just gross feeling people and children upset and
Tired,
pissed off and
unhappy.
everything else. I want to get on the
Boy, we're
tram,
still a lot
get
of
in my
vacations, aren't we,
vehicle.
folks?
You know, this is reality.
Wait to
I
tell
use
me.
my vehicle as well.
This is reality, folks. When you go to Walt Disney World, that's what you're going to experience when you get on a Disney bus after you leave the park to go to your resort. Everybody's going to smell.
Different kind of magic.
Oh, entirely. Oh, the funk.
Different kind of
The
magic.
funk of 1,000 years comes from that bus when everybody gets on board. It's amazing and it's crazy. And I'm going to leave it with that and turn it back over to Al John. That's what I'm going to do.
All right. I tell you, man, we have kicked off the new year right, talking about all these controversial issues. What say you in the chat room? Feel free to join us on the chat. We are at WDW After Dark on Twitter, Blab, and at WDW After Dark webcast on Facebook. More talk about the parks. Eric, you've got a couple tidbits before we launch into Star
I've
Wars.
got a couple things too.
Okay, well, I'm going to get to you.
Ladies first.
Eric?
Don't you forget about her.
Oh, ladies first? Well, I'm
No,
not going
no. Eric can go. No, that's fine. I just want to make sure you knew I had a couple
Okay, well,
of bits.
very good. Mr. Eric Allen.
Okay. God, where do I start? Oh, yes.
Beginning?
At the
Start
beginning.
at the top.
Well, that's just crazy talk. Okay, so
on the first day.
on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me
Oh,
nothing.
Too early,
Well, she's
too
cheap.
early.
She doesn't pay for parking.
Don't pay for parking.
Okay, one of the most anticipated movies of 2016 is coming up in May, and that is, of course, Captain America: Civil War. Now, in it, we will have an introduction to the character of Black Panther. Now, he is, of course, he is a longtime Avenger in the comics. He's not just an Avenger. He is also a king. He is the king of the country known as Wakanda. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because it was mentioned briefly in Avengers Age of Ultron. He's been in the Marvel Universe for 50 years. But not only is he getting introduced in Civil War, he is getting his own movie that is going to be in theaters February 16th of 2018. Now, why should you care about it 2 years out, you may ask? Well,
yeah.
We now have an official statement from Marvel. We now have an official director, guy by the name of Ryan Coogler. He said, Kevin Feige, the producer, says, we are fortunate to have such an esteemed filmmaker join the Marvel family. The talents Ryan showcased in his first two films easily made him our top choice to direct Black Panther. Many fans have waited a long time to see him in his own film, and with Ryan, we know we found the perfect director to bring T'Challa's story to life. By the way, T'Challa is his real name. Now, in case you're wondering where you've heard the name Ryan Coogler before, he wrote and directed his first award-winning feature film, which is Fruitvale Station in 2013. But more recently, he directed Creed, and that earned Sylvester Stallone a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in a Motion Picture.
Very good movie.
So, yes, we have an award-winning director on what could be one of the more important, I don't want to say secondary characters, because he's not secondary in the comics. This is going to be interesting because this is going to be Marvel's first minority character with their own movie. And so rumors around that we're going to have a mostly minority film crew as well. So I think this is great from a diversity standpoint, because it's something that you don't see every day. I mean, you don't see, a Jon Stewart DC movie. You don't see that many. First of all, you don't see that many minority characters in the comics, not as many as white characters. So I think this is great for Marvel to do. And I think they've got a great director to do it.
I agree. And I will say this. The spark that was the Marvel movie age really started with Blade. If you want to go back and think about it.
Good point.
They took a chance on a movie like Blade. Wesley Snipes did awesome in the Blade trilogy, regardless of whether you like the subsequent films and the TV series or not. It is proof that a minority or someone that's black can do a superhero movie and do a killer job at it. And it is also rumored that Wesley Snipes will be playing T'Challa's father as well. Coming back to Marvel,
that's a good idea.
Which is going to be great if that's the case. I've always felt like Black Panther was a great character, and those two movies, starring Michael B. Jordan, who was the Torch on the Fantastic Four, was great in those movies directed by him. So I believe that this movie's going to do really well.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's been a member of the ABC family, Disney family, for a long time when he was on All My Children.
And Michael B. Jordan, I think that he's also gonna find his way into Black Panther somehow. Now that the Fantastic Four was a total flop,
it was a fantastic flop.
Yes, I mean he could be the next Nova. Who knows?
You never know.
You never know.
When's my boy the Punisher going to get some real love with Marvel?
He's getting love here in a few days.
Yeah, I'm talking beyond Netflix. I'm talking beyond Netflix. Big screen stuff. Come on.
I think you'll see John Barenthal as the Punisher sooner than later.
Okay.
Right. I think Netflix is a perfect medium for him, because they can get as nasty as they want, as bad as they want, as dark and gritty as they want. And they ain't got to worry about it. They can do Punisher right on Netflix.
That's right.
Amen to that. As long as he gets some love.
So I've seen seen the Punisher that has Rebecca Romijn in it.
Okay, let's forget about that.
However, no. However, when I watched this movie, it wasn't in English.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I was watching it overseas. It was either Spanish or German. I don't remember what country I was in, but it was one or the other.
Suffice just to say,
The Punisher and
those were
Thai.
just as good. Yeah, as good as some of those movies were, and they were okay. This is going to be a more true to character depiction of the Punisher when Daredevil season 2 kicks off. I'm sure Eric will have the dates, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
I tell you something else I'm looking forward to in terms of true to character renditions. All right, just out of curiosity, which one of y'all, if any of you, have been following like the Disney Kingdoms comic book series out of Marvel?
Sure.
So far, they've had Seekers of the Weird. They've had Figment 1 and 2. They've had 2 Figments. They just recently wrapped up Big Thunder Mountain. These have all been like 5-issue limited series. The next one is coming out in March, and it is The Haunted Mansion.
Finally.
Yes.
I cannot wait. I've been trying to get Kristen into this whole Jim Zub Figment stuff, but she hasn't got into it yet. She will. She just hadn't gotten into it.
Jim Zub, I will throw some sunshine towards the podcast and Sorcerer Radio show Mighty Marvel Geeks, which comes on Saturday evenings on Sorcerer Radio at 8 p.m. Eastern, and can also be found as part of the We Be Geeks podcast group at webegeeks.net.
Much like this show.
Yeah, much like this show. But before I joined the show, they actually had Jim Zub, the writer of Figment, on the show, and that was a fantastic interview. The man was a fan of Figment, was a fan of the old Journey into Imagination, and they've done the same thing. We've got the guy who is going to be writing it is a gentleman by the name of Joshua Williamson. He is a huge fan of the Haunted Mansion as well. He said when we first started talking about it, it was one of those things where I was a little worried about my schedule, but then I was like, "There's no way I can't do this." He wanted to talk. He wanted to make sure there's really a horror aspect in it, because there is the horror aspect of the Haunted Mansion, but there are silly parts in there. They plan to keep the moments of levity in there, and one of the ways that they're doing it is that, like the rest of the Disney Kingdoms line, Marvel works closely with Disney Imagineers. Walt Disney Imagineer Josh Shipley says, "All of us involved are storytellers. We've just been telling stories in our different arenas. The team at Marvel has always been respectful of how we at Walt Disney Imagineering protect our theme park characters, while thus of us at Imagineering graciously, we graciously defer to our counterparts at Marvel to craft compelling stories in the comic book format. We all talk daily." Listen to that. We all talk daily. And this to me, I looked forward to the other ones. This one is the one I'm looking forward to the most. They don't say anything about they don't really go into detail about the story. They said the writer says, "My big priority is just doing justice to the story." He says, "One of my favorite stories about the Haunted Mansion is really the earliest story, which is about Walt Disney and how he was in the United Kingdom being interviewed. And he was kind of asked what he was doing there. And he was like, 'Oh, I'm going around inviting ghosts to this haunted hotel community I'm going to be making.'" And this was 10 years before the Haunted Mansion was actually built. But that story has stuck with him. So he says, his ideas for the comic has always led him back to that story. He said, "There's a bigger story involved. There's more things we're doing with it. But it will be the idea," and this is as far into the plot as he gets. "The idea of this place is a retirement community for the 999 happy haunts."
Right.
So it's Haunted Mansion #1 will be available in March. So go. You can order it on. You can order the electronic version from marvel.com. You can also go out to your local comic book retailer and pick it up on New Comic Book Day. So definitely be looking for that.
This is like the slightly less scary version, non-Lady Gaga version of American Horror Story Hotel.
Dude, anything that doesn't have Lady Gaga in it is slightly less scary.
I mean, she does have her softer side, with. Who's she been doing songs with her lately?
You said Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, thank you.
Yes, Tony
She
Bennett.
does have a softer side to her. There is no doubt about that.
A softer side.
Yeah, but if you've watched American Horror Story Hotel, you know the other side to her. I mean, and it's raw.
you know plenty other sides of Lady Gaga.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, she shows her softer side by wearing boneless pork chops.
Well, it fits skin tight, right. So that's why she does it. There you go.
All right. Now is the moment. Oh, Kristen. Oh, thank you. Don't forget to follow Eric and Jeff. Jeff Davis at DW_60 for Disney News. We got Mr. Eric Allen at Uncle Servo on Twitter, as well as the Mighty Marvel Geeks podcast. Kristen, gonna wrap things up with a couple tidbits, quick bites of dining at Disney News.
Yes, I have just a couple of announcements. One of them is that it was announced today that in 289 days will be the Swan and Dolphin Food and Wine Classic. It will be taking place on October 28th and 29th, which is a Friday and Saturday. And they will be bringing back for the third year the beer garden, which is awesome.
So how many days?
They do it for 2.
No. How many days till?
289.
We are under 290.
This I tell you is by far one of my favorite events to go to.
Yes, indeed. And mine too, by the way. Can't you tell?
I enjoy this so much that we haven't tried Party for the Census, and this is only like a fraction of the cost of what Party for the Census is.
It's a great deal, folks. I'm telling you.
It is, and you can meet Todd English.
Yes. Celebrity chef, Mr. Todd English.
Yum.
Yep.
Second story.
And my second story is that Disney finally updated the Disney dining plan brochure to include the non-Disney owned and operated restaurants. So those that were missing, for example, like the restaurants over at Coronado Springs are now included. The restaurants at Epcot, many of those are not owned by Disney, such as like Tokyo Dining in Via Napoli, La Hacienda. Those are owned by a third party. They're now included, and many of the Disney Springs restaurants, because when they first released this brochure and through the first week of this month at least, there were no table service restaurants listed for downtown Disney. So Fulton's Crab House, Morimoto Asia, the Boathouse, Raglan Row, and many of your favorites are now on that list. And for the full article and list of the restaurants that have now been added, including the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen. And do they really need to have such a long name?
Well, no.
But any which way, Disney did add that to the list of places. So,
all right. Thank you for that. I'm starving now, just thinking about all the food options, and I'm sure you are too at home, salivating. Once again, follow Kristen at Dining at Disney. Now, here we are. Star Wars. It's time. If you have not seen Star Wars The Force Awakens, understand that, that's right. Eric is loading up.
I am ready.
The Clone Trooper gun is ready to go. We will be spoiling Star Wars The Force Awakens, as it said. And just to kind of get things started, understand this. Star Wars has dethroned every single movie in its wake. It is the #1 box office hit blockbuster of all times. I believe internationally, this film, let's see, as of January 10th, well, this is not going to do because I'm looking at it, it's like already 2 days already. It says Star Wars stayed on top of the box office for the 4th week. I believe it's the first film to pass 812 million at the box office since its December 18th drop. Worldwide, it's been absolutely crazy, defeating and overthrowing Avatar several days ago. And The Force Awakens continues to draw big numbers at the box office. Before we go around, Miss Fate in the chat says the geeks have inherited the earth. Indeed. Let's go around Robin. Jeff was our final holdout watching the film. In a word or in gestures, I give the film 2 thumbs up and a huge smile. Our spoiler free review is on WDW Tiki Room, our sister show. But Jeff, finally, what are your thoughts on the show?
Can I give both positive and negative?
Sure, why not? Okay. We'll talk about it.
It's not all good for me. The film in itself was epic. That's the best word that I can describe the film. It was epic. The twists and the turns that J.J. Abrams took to put this together, the script that was put together, the special effects, the puppets. There was such a feeling of the original Star Wars A New Hope in this film. You had, to me, a lot of that feeling in this film and the way it was presented. There are a couple of actors that I don't agree with in this film, that I don't really feel were the best pick for the part, I guess, in a way. One of them being Adam Driver. I did not like him in this film at all.
That's Kylo Ren, right?
Yeah, that's Kylo Ren.
Okay.
I would have thought...
Or Ben Solo.
Yeah, however you want to look at it. But along with what Eric just said, the child of both Han and Leia, I thought there would be a little bit more of a resemblance between the two, which I just don't see with him in any way, shape, or form. The character of Kylo Ren, he kind of acted like a spoiled teenager at times, and the way that he kind of threw fits in different parts of the
kind of
movie.
like the affluenza teen.
In a way,
that's
yeah.
That's what I kind of
yeah. Didn't exactly like that very much, but I understand that the character of Kylo Ren has to evolve when it comes to being associated with the dark side, and there are certain things that they go through in their transition, everything else. Understandable. So wasn't too thrilled with him. I probably am going to get hate mail for this, and that's okay. Send it to me. I don't care. I was not totally on board with John Boyega Finn and that character. Not totally on board.
I liked him.
It's all right. Let him finish. Let him finish.
We'll tear apart his opinions later.
For one, I just don't like the way he presents the character as Finn. The character of Finn, I think, is very interesting. He is I'm trying to associate him with different characters that we've had before in Star Wars films, and I'm kind of drawing a blank here. The character itself is fantastic.
Well, it could be.
But him as an actor, the way he portrayed the character, it just didn't cut it with me. Just did not cut it with me.
Okay.
I don't know why. I was not happy with the fact that Gwendolyn Christie, she was Captain Phasma. We never got to see her. She is a fantastic actress. Fantastic. Does an unbelievable job on Game of Thrones currently. Does a fantastic job. But all we ever saw her do was stand in one spot and talk with that helmet on. I think you could have given the character a little more if we had actually seen her. The very first female Captain Stormtrooper that we've ever seen in Star Wars films. I wanted to see that character, not just the beautiful outfit that she had on, the epic, just the way that thing looked was awesome. Totally awesome. But we did not see her. We did not get the feeling of her acting from her. She voice acted fantastically. Loved it. But I did not see her. I wanted to see her.
In the chat room, we have Misfit who says she was totally Boba Fetted.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Now, okay, spoiler-wise, for those who haven't seen it, sorry, I'm just going to say it now.
No, I get to say it.
No, I was first, so I get to say it. No.
Yes.
No.
No. You do not.
No. John picked me first. He picked me first, so I get to do this.
You do not have to say because you went and saw it last.
And that's why I get to say it first.
I get to say that Han Solo dies.
The fact that I have seen so many posts on Facebook and Twitter of people who are so pissed off. The fact you have ruined Star Wars, it is dead, you had blah, blah, blah. And the fact that you killed Han Solo and his own son killed him. You didn't say that, so I said that first. Oh, yeah, I just got you on that one.
No, but I've got something better to say about
the fact that
All
the
right.
look on my face, if I could have taken a picture without the flash and you have seen my face when I saw that part of the movie, I knew when he stepped out onto that catwalk out there with Kylo, I knew it right then and there. I said, he's a dead man. He is a
I knew it
dead
before
man.
then.
When he said, I need you to help me to do something, I said, the man is dead and we will never see him again.
When Ren said, I know what I have to do, I just don't know that I have the strength. I said, he is going to get skewered.
Yep.
Oh God, there was a ghetto echo in there.
Yeah, I know. It's just like no.
And I'll give you
Yeah.
this. This is my last part. This is the last one.
For now.
J.J. Abrams, why the hell did you even bother putting Mark Hamill in this movie in any way, shape, or form when you only give me about 45 freaking seconds of Luke Skywalker and doesn't even say hold on. Doesn't even say a word. Nothing. I know it's the build-up. I know it's the epic. And then it's just done. I was not happy with that at all.
I'm jumping.
I have a feeling I'm going to lose control of this train.
This train left the tracks when it pulled out of the station. All right, I'm gonna jump in. Somebody asked Mark Hamill on Twitter how he felt when he saw the script for the movie and it didn't have any dialogue in it for him. He replied with one word: speechless.
Of course.
Now I have so many different theories in my head. Specifically, somebody I did love and that was cast perfectly for this movie, Daisy Ridley. Absolutely phenomenal performance in this movie.
Is that Ray?
Yeah, that's Ray.
Yes, Ray.
Fantastic. I love this chick. She's a cross between the character of Han and a cross between the character of Luke. It is a perfect combination in my mind. She is absolutely phenomenal. And plus, we only got a few minutes of R2. Why? Wanted more. Sure, BB-8 is fantastic. I love BB-8. But
well, you see, there you go, Jeff. I mean, what the movie set out to do is leave you wanting more.
Yeah, and it did. It did.
More.
It did.
There you go.
Definitely.
Hence,
yeah, 2 thumbs up. 100%. Loved it.
That was a far cry longer than the Twitter review, but moving on. That was more than 140 characters, I dare say. Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, I think epic is a very good word for it. Unfortunately, the Han Solo biting the big one got spoiled for me, mainly because I had not really been looking, and I will give the Star Wars fan community major props on this, because all the Twitter groups and the Facebook groups that I'm on, that they had very strict no spoiler warnings, and the admins, bless their hearts, they had their hands full, but they did a very good job of deleting any spoiler spoiler things. But unfortunately, somebody said, "Oh, well, Michael Sam dropped the big thing. He just said, I cried like a baby. R.I.P. Han." And I'm just kind of like, dude, this is why you're not in the NFL anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I knew it, and one of my son's friends, he also ruined it for him. So both of us went in knowing that you know that it's not 12 parsecs to death for him. But it really, I will agree with you. I liked Daisy Ridley. I think Daisy Ridley, perfect casting, perfect.
Yeah.
Because she is she's definitely, she's a tough gal, but she's a good person. I mean, it's just, she has grown up. The thought about, say, I've got to go back to my home planet because I'm waiting for somebody to pick me up, even though she knows in her heart, nobody's coming for her. I mean, she just, that kind of hits you in the feels right there. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the dog that waits for its master at the door, even though they, the master's dead or gone off. Just, yeah.
Thank you, ASPCA.
Yeah.
Eric is now known by the name of Sarah McLachlan.
That's a downer. Jeez.
I mean, it's just that it hits the feel. She knows there's not. And I have theories about that. I think, and some people have said, well, it's complete and utter crap because she is using the Force really, really, quickly. It's kind of like, okay, how about this? When Kylo Ren slaughtered the younglings, kind of like his grandfather did. And by the way, speaking of grandfather, that scene where Kylo Ren is sitting there talking to the melted helmet, say, "Grandfather, give me strength," that sort of thing. I'm kind of like, okay, I like this guy. Yes, he acts like the affluenza teen. Yes, he has the tantrums. You know what? How many people had to apologize to Vader during Empire Strikes?
Right.
You tell me force choking somebody from the next spaceship over isn't a tantrum?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but you saw those two stormtroopers walk in and they're like, "Oh, I see him doing something. We're going to get the hell out of there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting the hell out of there.
I think we got to go check a garbage compactor or something,
But he
Exactly.
he was throwing a fit like a child. I mean, it just.
Well, yes. Well, he is. His training is not complete. I mean, even Snoke says it at the end. He says, bring Kylo Ren to me. It's time we finish his training. So what probably happened, and I think we're going to see this in episode 8, and we're definitely going to see it in episode 9. You're going to see more to this backstory because Harrison Ford, hey, guess what? He's going to be in episode 8. So either he's going to be a freaking smuggler force ghost or he's going to be in flashback form. So we're going to get to see all of this.
Or number 3, which is what I suspect, 3D hologram.
Maybe he's not
here's
dead.
the thing. This is
Darth
what I have
Maul
heard.
die.
This is what I have heard. The whole reason why Han is dead in the first place is because Harrison Ford wanted him dead. Harrison Ford wanted to finally be finished with Han Solo in Star Wars.
He wanted Han to die at the end of Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
He thought it was more fitting to the storyline there. So it only took about 30 years for him to get his wish granted. Granted, he's had a couple of movies since then.
However, Harrison Ford also has points regarding, and points what I mean is the back end deal when the movie's successful. So of course, he may or may not be back. Or he may or may not be back in the form of a storyteller in this Han Solo, solo mission story that they're going to talk about.
But have they not already said that the full cast from this movie has already been confirmed for the next one?
That was put out there beforehand, before the film was actually screened. And of course, everything is subject to change because, as we know, that's how things go.
This is where you're going to see, I do believe, you're going to see what happens when Kylo Ren goes rogue and starts slaughtering younglings. Rey is a youngling under Luke Skywalker's tutelage. She has already learned some of the aspects of the Force. So she was deposited on Jakku, just like Luke was on Tatooine, to keep her safe, keep her out of the way, because Kylo Ren knows her.
Mm.
He knows. He said there was a girl. He knows about the girl.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that got away. That's how she knows how to do the, you need to loosen my restraints. And I think, do we know who the stormtrooper was in that scene, by the way?
Yes. Yes.
James freaking Bond.
Daniel Craig.
Yes. Okay. Also, the way she kind of just knows how to do Force stuff. I really do think that's what we're going to see. She's probably like the last of the younglings.
You want to know best theory I've heard on that so far? Is that she is the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Now,
that's
if
the
you
best
want to believe,
rumor I've heard on the internet so far.
If you want to believe the kind of innuendo in the Clone Wars TV animated series, that's totally believable. That is totally believable.
Yeah,
if you're Luke Skywalker and you know Obi-Wan had a granddaughter, you sure as heck are going to want to train her.
Because there was that connection she had with that lightsaber. Why is it?
Who's not to say she's not a Skywalker?
There you go.
Oh, that's even good too.
Just remember, the Force is strong in my family. I had it, or my dad had it. I have it. My sister has it, and you have it too. I mean, they pretty much had come right out and said that there is a familial tie in some way, shape, or form because it called the Kyber crystal. Okay. Mm-hmm. See, I'm going deep here, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Kyber crystal in lightsabers calls out to particular Jedi when they are forced to complete their training. They're forced to complete their training. When they complete their training, they go into the cave, they go into the Jedi temple, they come out with a crystal that is unique to them. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's purple or amethyst, whatever the color
would be purple.
And then that crystal, that same crystal calls out to Rey. And here's the thing. What if Luke, in his years of studying the Force, somehow blocked Rey's memories in order to shield her from the truth? Remember, in Return of the Jedi, the Emperor was able to search your feelings, Luke, and he searches his feelings and he finds out about sister. You have a sister. Oh. So what does he do? He goes into hiding to hide his own child, to block the thing that is that he knows so well. If he was been able to find, get found out that he needed some way to block memory from Rey from herself so that she would not be found, and that he's disciplined enough to keep the truth away from Snoke or Rey or Kylo Ren. But then all of a sudden Rey has got this block, and it's all of a sudden pushed forward by Maz Kanata and finding the lightsaber that's calling to her.
In the chat room, Trickzilla said, and the glass is the lady, the glass
Kanata.
Yeah. I've seen those eyes before.
But yes, she was talking. She was talking about Finn, though. She was talking about Finn, though. She said, "This is the eyes of a coward."
Yes.
So she's not talking about Rey specifically at that point. But you notice when when Rey found the lightsaber, who was standing right behind her? Maz.
Mm-hmm. Maz Kanata.
Yeah, Maz may not be a Jedi, but
Mastanada.
Oh God! Now that is in my head.
Guys, remember it wouldn't be a Disney show without
Disney Parade.
Wow.
Jamming Jungle Parade.
Before we get any further into the rabbit hole, Kristen, what are your thoughts on the film?
Why'd you make me go last? I should have been going first because I saw it before. It should have been in order that you saw it.
Okay, Kristen. Let's go back in time.
Save the best for last, Kristen.
Let's see. So I was trying to figure out going into it who Kylo Ren was going to be because I haven't read any of the books or any of that stuff, so I didn't know who he was going to be. But
it didn't matter. This is a new story that doesn't take any from
anything.
It doesn't follow any of the expanded universe, and God did that set off a lot of people pissing.
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, I had no idea that that's who that was going to be. I think he looked more like an emo kid than a villain.
Well,
I felt like
yeah.
I felt like he was the weakest of the Star Wars villains.
Oh, I like him. While you say
I look at him and like Jeff said, he's a kid throwing a temper tantrum, and that's kind of how I feel. He's a bratty teen. Not this guy is somebody to be afraid of. I'm like, this is just some teenage brat. I don't know.
That to me, while we're here, Kylo reminds me of Anakin. Also reminds me of Luke. Jeff said that he didn't really have any bearing on Han and Leia. I think that there was some resemblance, but definitely a Skywalker resemblance for sure from that side. It's the hair was definitely made by Paul.
Man,
Vidal Sassoon or Paul Mitchell. Adam Driver I thought was really good because yes, he was ex-military, by the way.
The comment in the chat room is hilarious. That's what we're laughing at. He reminded me of Marilyn Manson meets John Travolta from Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's a good one.
Oh my god.
Best quote of the night.
That is a good quote of the night. What I like about Adam Driver is the fact that he.
Oh, I don't have a problem with him. It's
okay.
It's the character.
You're right. It's a character. But Luke Skywalker, how many people thought that Mark Hamill was such a bratty kid in that first Star Wars movie? A lot of people had that.
He was kind of whiny to start off with.
But he changed. And you'll see that change happen, especially with Mark Hamill's voice. I mean, shut down all the trash compactors, I'm going to Tashi Station to pick some power converters, I mean.
Now, see, that was a whiny bit.
Yeah, that was a little whiny, but
well, if there's a bright center at the center of the universe, you're on the planet that it's farthest from. Oh, I'm sorry, little baby, get his feelings hurt.
Yes. So, I mean, but I dig it. Go ahead, Kristen. I'm sorry. Please.
I just don't feel that way. I'm with Jeff on that. I don't have a problem with the actor who's portraying him. It's the character itself that I'm just like, ugh. I don't.
He could be less whiny and more badass.
When
I saw him stop that laser bolt, I was like, "Holy smokes!"
Oh
man,
yeah,
that looks pretty awesome.
That was.
But I mean, take a look at the character as a person when he has the mask on, when he has the hood up, and everything. You have this,
and they should not have taken his mask off.
If they had left the mask on him, the presence of the character would have taken on a completely different feel. But when you take it off and you see this kid and then acting the way he does, that's where me and Kristen agree.
Now, see, speaking about taking masks off, I'm glad Captain Phasma did not, because I feel like that would take away from
her Boba
that
Fett
character being such a badass. Because I think, isn't she supposed to play a much larger role in the next movie?
Yeah,
that's
I think
the point.
All right, here's the thing. First movie in a trilogy, you're setting things up.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have a story that can carry you through to the end. So, but you are setting up characters for the second and third movies in the trilogy. So, yes, you see Phasma for just a minute, just long enough to know who she is, and to establish that Finn answered to her. So now you have Phasma coming after Finn.
Right.
It's almost like it's almost like it's personal. It's like a retrieval or elimination, kind of like you brought down the First Order. I'm coming for you personally. So this is going to be, she is going to be what Boba Fett should have been.
Right.
I don't think that her character was done wrong. I think the idea of her character and a female playing this type of a role in this movie and what it's possibly going to have in the next 2 movies or 1 movie, however many she's going to be in, is fine. My problem was simply the level of actress that she is, I think in a way was taken away from her by keeping that helmet on the entire time. When he had when Finn had his helmet off when he first got back to the ship and she walked up behind him, I thought that would have been a fantastic moment for her to take off her helmet and display those acting abilities that she had and her dislike with what he was doing and maybe possibly what's this kid up to? What's he doing? That's where my disconnect with the character was, is that her acting ability was not fully taken.
It didn't take advantage of her acting.
Exactly. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, the role of Obi-Wan in A New Hope didn't take full advantage of Sir Alec Guinness.
Oh yeah.
Or Tarkin either when it comes to Alex Cushing.
Peter
Cushing.
Again, it's to introduce, and I really think we're going to see much, much more badassery out of her next movie.
I think that the casting for me anyway, and I'm not saying that the movie isn't without its flaws, because the Disney wanted to make sure they had a movie that was under 2 hours to shove as many people through the gate as possible, which they did. It could have easily been Avengers at 2.5 hours. It could have easily been 3, but I think 2 hours was just fine. There were some things that are left open-ended a lot. Yeah. But I think that's a great part about speculation and the discussions that we're having, is that it leaves it open. Now, do I think that John Boyega did awesome? Hell yeah, because he was the guy that broke free of the training. Why? That's a big question. Why? Of all the stormtroopers that are being trained, and as you see, the First Order is actually acting a lot like the Jedi from the prequel era in taking children to become soldiers for this militarized unit. And why was he broken free of the programming? So much so that they actually referenced the Clone Wars.
I was about to say,
wouldn't it be better? Mm-hmm. Yeah, wouldn't it be better if we just had clones? And of course, there was a little bit
clones are expensive. They represent a significant investment.
Mm-hmm. That was reason that we saw the clone army is Hux, wasn't it?
General Hux.
Yeah,
General Weasley. Got it. Yeah, he was a Weasley. There's no doubt about
General
it.
General Weasley.
I tell you the bit of casting that actually surprised me in a way that I don't think too many people looked at was Chewbacca. That was not Peter Mayhew play in the suit.
Yeah, for the most of it.
Yeah. Because Peter Mayhew
reaction to Han Solo was
the man can barely walk as it is, and there were just two scenes where he was running around the set and everything else. He did what he could to play Chewbacca, and he did a fantastic job.
And truth be told, Kenny Baker, Anthony Daniels, a lot of the original cast had very small cameos, but it played that fan service. It did what it needed to do. The new guy they have to play Chewbacca is great, but my God, let me tell you that if we go back and we were to talk about the scenes in the film that meant the most to us, I think everyone will say on this panel that it was
Chewie, we're home.
Chewie, we're home. That was great. Yes. Like I started tearing up there. I was like, really? I'm starting to tear up here.
And you knew it was coming too. Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen it in the damn promo, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that scene, if we look at the highlights of this film, when Rey and Finn are doing all this, the crawl happened. It's great. By the way, I didn't feel that the 20th century fanfare was missed at all. They just went straight from Lucasfilm into the crawl. That big Star Wars logo was amazing. But I have to say this, all of a sudden the movie takes off And here goes Finn and Rey running into a junk heap and into the Millennium Falcon. That was like one of the best reveals ever when that tarp comes off the ship. And I'm like, holy crap, man, it's a Millennium Falcon. What the hell is it doing here?
They say it's a piece of junk. We're going to this one. Okay, we'll go to the piece of junk. And you see what the piece of junk is.
Yeah.
People are talking about how, well, we wanted to see Han, we wanted to see Leia, we wanted to see Luke. Where's Luke? I'm telling you, Millennium Falcon, and this was the brilliance of Irvin Kershner.
Yes.
The Millennium Falcon is a character. It is not. It's not just a set. It's not just a prop. It has its own personality. It has, and you see this in the now Legends books, where the ship does have its own personality, and it responds to how you treat it. I mean, if you cared about the ship, if you spent time with the ship, basically, if you loved the ship would love you back.
It's like a droid.
It's very much like a droid. 3 droid brains in it.
Yes.
Yes. So yes, it's like you have Huey, Dewey, and Louie running around in your ship the whole time.
But even in this film, though, at the same time, what J.J. Abrams did with that ship and did with that character was next to absolutely. We saw that ship do things we've never seen before, and
some of them it wasn't meant to do.
Exactly, but the way it was presented, and and I said this before when J.J. Abrams did the first 2 Star Trek movies, and what he did with the USS Enterprise and all of those scenes. He transformed all of that over to Star Wars, and it was next to spectacular when it comes to any of the big battle scenes and chases. He just has a knack for it. I don't know what it is, but yeah, seeing that ship do those types of things brought back so many memories. Seeing Finn sit in that seat, manning those guns and everything else brought back so many memories. That's where that feel of the very first original movie came back.
The targeting sensors were just right on in terms
just right
of
there. Yeah,
in terms of the original film. Trickzilla said something about significance to C-3PO not having his original arm. I think JJ had mentioned the fact that he just wanted to make it look like time had passed, and that the droid, as he said, "I'm sorry, sir, I didn't know if you'd recognize me from the last time because of my arm," being red. But yes, he had his own adventures that will be explained in a Marvel comic coming soon. So
3PO has a fashion sense all of a sudden. He does
have a fashion sense. Yes. I mean, hey, he pulled a Coulson. He decided to get another one.
Yeah, there you go.
And let's not forget about Oscar Isaac Poe, another fantastic character. Did a really good job. I mean, he's the first one you see. He's that's how you open the movie right there.
Right.
He's the new Wedge. Only he reminds me a lot of I hate to say this. He reminds me a lot of Maverick from Top Gun.
Sure, I got you.
Mainly, and I say I hate to do it because, I hate to compare anyone to Tom Cruise, but still, maybe Val Kilmer's character from Top Gun, Iceman, because I mean he was a fighter jock.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He was not. Now he wasn't. He was confident, borderline cocky, but he was professional the whole way. Yes,
he knew he was.
He wasn't conceited, just convinced.
Yeah,
he proved it.
Oh, definitely.
He proved it.
Yeah.
How much do you think that J.J. Abrams is kicking himself in the ass for not directing the second movie right now?
He already said it. He hates the fact that he's not doing it.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous amount of pressure. And a lot of people had ridiculed or had commented about George Lucas's recent comments regarding the film. And let's put it like this, right? George, and we know this because we know as Disney fans, the amount of respect George Lucas has for Walt Disney and the Walt Disney Company. He would not have sold his own company for $4.2 billion to Bob Iger and Disney if he didn't think that they would be good stewards of the brand and Lucasfilm as a whole. However, when constantly prodded and asked about how he feels about the movies, he has a very dry sense of humor. And truth be told, he went and apologized for recent statements he made. And I think that's just because it's difficult for him as a creator. And I know this because I've seen this happen even with my own songs. As I wrote songs and had other people record the songs or make a twist on the songs that I've written, I felt really bitter about that. And can you imagine, seeing your kids go off to college and all of a sudden they do things that you didn't teach them to do, or they go a different path that you may not have realized? That kind of hurts you on the inside. And I think that's what George is going through. He's going through that remorse, period.
I don't know that it's remorse. And this kind of ties into something else I wanted to touch on before we got off the air tonight. This stupid online petition, ridiculous concept of trying to get George Lucas to direct episode 9.
Why?
Now 10 years ago, the fan base, there was fanboys to the left and to the right saying George Lucas should never be allowed to direct another Star Wars movie. I have heard that directly. Some people have said flat out, he needs Star Wars taken away from him. Now you have fans coming in and say, oh, well, he's the creator. Without him, we wouldn't have it. It's like, dude, have you ever been in a relationship where the fire died? You've got estranged from that special someone. Maybe it's a spouse where the honeymoon is over. It's over. You just don't want to go through with it. Finally, you decide, yes, I'm going to move on. I'm divorcing. I'm moving on with my life. Now, imagine a bunch of strangers, complete strangers, saying, oh, you look so cute together. You should totally shack up for the weekend with your ex. You two were just meant to be together. What would you say to that? Would you say yes? No, your ex is an ex for a reason.
You got that right.
You may not want to say what George said, which is I sold Disney to a bunch of white slavers.
Well, you know what? I think he's realizing that was not the best thing to say, especially to a company that he'd been working with since the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever heard of something called Star Tours, people?
Yeah.
It debuted in January 1987. So if you were born on or after that date, you have lived your entire life with a Star Wars Disney partnership in place. Let's not pretend that Disney purchasing Star Wars in 2012 is something new.
And you know what? To all of those people who sat there and complained and whined and moaned and almost guaranteed, what Disney's going to do is they're going to flash the big Disney logo over the screen, the castle.
Where was that Disney logo?
Where was it at? Wasn't there.
Nowhere.
You didn't see anything Disney-wise until the very end of the credits.
That's right. At the very end of the credits.
End of the credits.
Yes.
So you know what? Y'all can kiss my ass because you were wrong.
Well, I tell you, our friends at the Rebel Force Radio has done an amazing job of putting together some great podcasts regarding their thoughts on the show. I'll say this. I love the film. It had a lot of heart. It was a great way for people to get back into the fold. If those lost sheep, as it were, who got disenfranchised by the prequel trilogy,
there were a lot,
came back, and they certainly did. The proof is in the box office numbers. Everyone came out to see this film, and it is a great film. It's a great reintroduction. It's not a rehash. It's not a reboot. It's not a remake of A New Hope. It is a great starting off point for what will be a new series of films, not just a trilogy, but a new series of films. Mm-hmm. Great casting. You may not have liked every character. I, for one, did. I understand the choices. I think they're great ambassadors for the brand. And I believe that you can find so much more in the novelization of this movie that you could not find in the actual film itself. So I'll leave that with you.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings. The novelization of this film leaves so much more answers, leaves you with so many more answers, but still leaves questions. What is Luke Skywalker's role? Who is Rey's mom and dad? Why was Rey playing out there in Jakku, left with Simon Pegg, and why was she playing with an X-wing pilot doll and a helmet? Who knows? Was she dropped off there? Does she really know now who she is? What is Chewbacca's role moving forward, and why didn't Chewbacca and Princess Leia hug when they saw each other at the spaceport when the Falcon landed? I will never know.
How we know they didn't, and the camera just didn't catch it?
You're right. Who knew?
Who
knows?
Supreme Leader guy? Who is that? Where did he come from?
I honestly believe that Supreme Leader Snoke is Darth Plagueis. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
I don't understand where the hell he came from, because there was no mention of this guy ever.
That's right. Ever. Well, I believe there was a mention of that guy. You just have to dig through and listen to the musical cues. That tells you back in Star Wars episode, was it episode 2, Eric, or was it episode 3? I think it was episode 3. Only a Sith can show you, or only a Sith can
not from a Jedi.
Not from a Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
Episode 3.
It's possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
I don't know.
Watch Supreme Leader Snoke be Boba Fett. Okay.
Yeah, right. People have said that. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I honestly thought, until they showed that he was a hologram, I honestly thought he was like this 30-foot tall alien of the Sith and everything. A lightsaber that's bigger than you can ever imagine. And he's probably
it's a 10-foot pole, literally.
He's probably the size of Yoda.
Yeah,
he's probably the size of Yoda.
His pinky in the brain.
I know, right? I have a bunch of really quick things I'm just going to put out there, and you guys can just chime in. But how about the Millennium Falcon and all of a sudden showing the little training droid from the very first, the floating training droid from the very first Star Wars Episode 4? Wasn't that cool?
Yes.
The hollow chessboard and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I love the hollow chessboard. Yes.
Yeah. There was a bunch of mentions about that. Rey's connection to Luke. We talked about that with her little dolls in there. How about, let's see. Eric, you speculated that the Starkiller base was going to be some type of torpedo platform. We found out that wasn't the case
because it looked like it. Now that, if you want to talk about major problems with the movie, that was the biggest problem that I had with it. I'm sorry, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't care if it's realistic or not. I don't watch it because I think it's a freaking documentary. But even yet and still, the thought of making your super weapon into a planet that draws power from its sun, doesn't that mean that you only have a few shots in that gun? You drain that sun. First of all, seeing as the sun is like the gravitational center of your solar system, you suck that thing dry, you're hosed.
Yeah, but look at how many shots out of one shot. Look at how many it got.
Well, yes, I mean, I understand that, and maybe it wasn't meant to have like an infinite payload, kind of like the Death Star. It wasn't meant to go all over hither and yon, or who knows? Maybe they did. Maybe they put big ass engines on the other side of the planet. I don't know, but I mean, it's just the thought of, well, great, we drained the star dry. Now what do we do?
I know, because now the plant, everything around it is either going to be drawn into a black hole, or the planet's just going to shrivel up and die because it's all cold now, and no life can sustain upon that quote unquote M-class planet. Yeah, I crossed the streams there. So yeah, there's a bunch of just weird stuff that happened, but I think that needless to say, it was quite interesting. And yes, there was a bunch of great cameos. Billy Lord was in there, as Lieutenant Connix. I thought she was great. If you're a big fan of Scream Queens, I think you'll appreciate that. Carrie Fisher's daughter. Ewan McGregor is in there as a voice of Obi-Wan, was in there, which was really cool, as well as Frank Oz for Yoda. Jessica Henwick was Chester rather. There as an X-Wing pilot. That's great because, Jeff, you said you're a Game of Thrones fan. She's pretty hot. She's good times in there. Bill Hader is a voice of BB-8. I think we talked about that a little bit. Simon Pegg as Unkar Plutt, who was the traitor there on Jakku. Of course, we mentioned Daniel Craig in there as well. And let's not forget our very favorite Greg Grunberg as Snap Wexley. By the way, met Greg Grunberg this past weekend at CES. Really nice guy. I couldn't be happier. So many guys and gals from Game of Thrones, and of course Warwick Davis as Wolvan, who's in there as well. So many great cameos in the film.
Yeah.
We could go on and talk about all things Star Wars. The bottom line is Disney did not screw up this film. Lucasfilm did not screw up this film. George Lucas wishes that he could have done this film, and so does J.J. Abrams wish he could be on board for the next one.
George Lucas had his chance.
Yeah.
I hate to sound ungrateful because yes, if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have this franchise. And I think he will always be remembered for it. But let's not forget, he said he would never do another one again because of the fanboy backlash. So it's not like he was ever going to do another Star Wars movie. He let go of the franchise and he moved on.
But he was in talks to do it. He was in talks to do it at D23. He was.
You know what?
And all of a sudden, the opportunity became available because when he was in discussion, he did talk about the new Star Tours with Bob Iger, and that's where it all started.
Aljon, I think you said it best. Not only is this, it's not a reboot or anything else like that. It's a brand new trilogy. It's an opportunity for other Star Wars movies to come out. Who's to say George Lucas might not say, hey, let's give it a shot.
Maybe have him direct the Han Solo movie.
Could be. You never know.
Or you never know.
Or
you
Rogue
never
One,
know.
or something like that.
I know they're talking to Steven Spielberg. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
We know
that's something they tried to do for years and years.
That's true.
That would be awesome if it actually happened.
And here's the deal: Steven Spielberg would have directed Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, but his schedule did not permit it. And he also did ghost direct some scenes of what was it?
Episode 3, wasn't it?
Episode 3. Yep. Revenge of the Sith. So,
yeah.
Hey, look, there's a whole bunch of great things we could discuss. The bottom line is that we Disney fans came out in support of this Star Wars franchise, and there will be many more Star Wars films to come, thanks to the success of J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, and the rest of the Lucasfilm crew. And I cannot wait for more Star Wars. What I feel is a bummer is that you can't get the Wookiee bowcaster, Han Solos, or blaster, or any Stormtrooper blasters anymore at the parks. If anyone's out there, trust me, I want to get those guns. Somewhere at an outlet store, it's now contraband. Who knew I was going to say I need contraband guns from Disney?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
On a podcast. Folks, thank you so much for tuning into our program. We're going to go ahead and call it a night. Eric, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter in one of two places, at Uncle Servo for general geekery and at Sorcom Review for Disney-specific geekery, as well as finding the Sorcom Review's Facebook page on facebook.com/Sorcom Review, and also in the Sorcerer Radio Disney Fun Zone, which is a group on Facebook where young and old alike can share their love of all things Disney in a family-friendly atmosphere. Yes, I've said that once or twice.
Jeff Davis.
You can find me over on Twitter at DW_60. Year number 10 of the show DW60 starts this Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time over on Sorcerer Radio, SRSounds.com, and also in the Fun Zone over on Facebook. So looking forward to another year of that show. So it's going to be fun.
Right on. Kristen.
Dining at Disney, and you can also on iTunes download the Dining at Disney podcast, which is can be watched on YouTube at the Dining at Disney. And as far as social media, you can follow Dining at Disney on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Periscope. And I would like to say Big Bubba B, which you may know him as that's his social media handle and everything. He is the new co-host for the Dining at Disney podcast now.
Hey, all right.
We recorded our first show today.
Yay! It'll be up soon once I cut the new theme song. And also, don't forget our broadcast promotional partner, Sorcerer Radio. Live 365 may be leaving, but Sorcerer Radio will continue. It is the 15-year anniversary of Sorcerer Radio coming up in February, and we invite everyone to enjoy the great family programming that Sorcerer Radio has to offer at srsounds.com, in which all of us are DJs on. It's a labor of love and passion for us to share our fandom with the rest of the Disney community. So I invite you to listen to the longest running fan-run Disney radio station of all time, Sorcerer Radio at srsounds.com, and listen to us on all the different platforms and downloadable free apps. And also check out Kristen and I on our other podcast, WDW Tiki Room, on Sorcerer Radios every Friday. And then we also have my podcast. If you love pro wrestling, check out ProWrestlingCast.com. And, of course, WDW After Dark at WDWAfterDark.com. And last but not least, my website for more Star Wars news and fun stuff from Marvel at JediMouseketeer.com. That is the end of the show, everybody. The first one back for 2016. Next week, I believe the rest of the team will be on with a very special guest because I will be out doing another trade show. But in the meantime, may the Force be with you always. And don't forget, it's better after dark. And we'll see you next time. Take care and have a great rest of your day.
And good luck finding contraband.
I know, right? You found it. I know, you lucky bastard.
Crisis for the geek kind. Top geek officials admit they underestimated the hipsters' defense capability. Join the geek revolution and save the galaxy. Geeks from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future. They're doing their part. Are you? Want to know more? Join Weeby Geeks and the Geek Revolution and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship. Listen to Weeby Geeks podcast on iTunes and Stitcher or online at WeebyGeeks.net. Weeby Geeks, your voice for the Geek Revolution. Want to know more?